So once again, welcome to the men's gold race here, the Division I race here at Les Balstead Golf Course on the campus of University of Minnesota. This is the 30th Roy Griak Invitational. The big boys are stepping up to the plate now. It's time to earn some Colas points, make a statement. This is a meet that many people have had circled on their calendars for months as this is the meet where I need to kick off my cross-country season, run a solid effort. And on the individual side, we'll preview that first. As I mentioned earlier, Chris Walden, 17th at the NCAA meet a couple years ago, or excuse me, last year, and he's our top returner, 4th a year ago. He's going to lead the number 21, I believe, the number 21 Cal Bears into this meet, and it's been 5 years since they made it to the NCAA championships as a whole group. So they're looking to have a good performance out of him and the rest of the group. We also have a sleeper in Trent Lusigan, who was 12th 2 years ago at the NCAA meet. He's back running cross country for the first time since 2013. He hasn't run an 8K in almost 2 years. So we'll see what he have. We have a minute to go in this race. Want to mention another team to watch out for, Colorado State. They could sneak in and be a team champion here, pick up some good points. They have a very talented sophomore in Jerrell Mock. He was 53rd at the NCAA meet as just a frosh. Very, very impressive. So those are our teams. We're going to be looking at Cal, Southern Utah, Boise State, and Colorado State. Those are the groups that are trying to come out here, get a big victory, and potentially, you know, get several points that could earn them a trip to NCAAs even at this point in the season.
I also think we have to mention normally running Division II, but today running in the Division I race, Adams State.
They actually historically, I think maybe they've gone back a few times, but they like to get themselves into this D1 race. Now they've won NCAA something like 6 of the last 7 years at the Division II level. Ridiculous. Coach Damon Martin has so many NCAA championships to his name. But here's the whistle for the start of the men's gold race. We are about to start. Okay, so off we go, and I'm going to quickly run through the teams. We have Adams State, Arizona, Boise State, Cal, Central Michigan, Colorado State, Drake, Incarnate Word, Long Beach State, Marquette, Michigan State, Minnesota, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Santa Clara, South Dakota State, Southern Utah, UMKC, Utah State, Utah Valley, Weber State, and then Wyoming. So those are your teams early on, and we mentioned. So we're going to give you a peek at the map about where they're running early on.
As you can see, the leaders have emerged early on in this men's race. It's coming into this very beginning.
So here we are on the map, and we're seeing them at this point. They're still in the opening stretches at about this portion of the course, and my cursor will correct it. So they're over into our left side, coming in the first opening straight, and they'll head around the top of the bend to wrap around to our 1 kilometer. But this obviously is the early portion of the course, and it's crucial to get out hard. And so far, getting out hard has propelled our first 4 champions to a victory. I mean, no one's come from behind. So far in these conditions, it may be wise for our favorites to just get out hard and try to build basically an insurmountable lead. So we're about this portion of the course, as you can see on our map. And there you can see on my circle, that perfect circle I've managed to put together. So at this point in the course, you get a full view of our course, which tends to wind quite a bit. Over here in the later portions of the race, it will be extra tricky for some of these athletes. We've talked about this. It's been a pivotal point in the past with these winding. You don't want to lose your tempo at that point. But on the far right screen, you see the yellow circle. This is where we are early in our contest. We mentioned some of the teams early on that we are watching. Defending champions Southern Utah got a big victory here last year, led by Nate Juke's individual win. He has since graduated, but last year's victory for Southern Utah propelled them to their first NCAA berth since 1999. So this is a crucial meet for those guys.
Well, and last year, something of note is I remember, sitting on the finish line calling the race, but we've seen in previous races today that the individual winner is just heads and shoulders above the remainder of the field. But last year in this race, it was a pack.
Oh, yeah.
It was a pack. Nate Jukes obviously took away the individual title, but Craig Lutz was in there. Chris Walden, who is returning again. It was definitely a tighter team individual battle last year, but we'll see if the same situation emerges this year.
So we just got our first peek of our leaders. They're going to pass the K, or if they have not already, and we'll catch up with them near the mile area. Yeah, and actually here they are up on your screen. It is a tight pack early on, which is to be expected out of these D1 athletes. Several All-Americans in this field. This is a group that knows what they're doing on the cross-country course. I mean, everyone out here knows what they're doing, but this is a group, you're going to see a lot of people in a pack, and this is going to resemble a conference race, really. A big, one of our top 8 conference races. This is the depth of this field, and a victory here will go a long ways.
And as you can see, the competitors are cutting across one of the forks on this course where a lot of the points intersect. They're going to be coming into the mile pretty soon here, but a lot of Southern Utah athletes
I do see
running
that,
up top.
Yeah, Southern Utah, we have them ranked 17th in our poll, and they're showing why early on, commanding the tempo. See a Pitt athlete. I see 2 Cal Bears there. I do see Chris Walden on the left side of the screen. You can't miss him with that mustache that he's already rocking in late September. He knows he's down to business.
I gave
this
him
cross-country
some crap
season.
about that.
I don't know why. I mean, the mustache is something to applaud during cross-country season. Maybe not the rest of the year, but when it's on point during cross-country season, you're doing really well. So a very tight pack early on. You see a lot of Southern Utah jerseys, the alma mater of Nate Jukes, of course, but most famously Cam Levins. So Southern Utah's, it's surprising that it's been so long since they made it to the NCAA meet. Could this be their year? Early on, just almost a mile into this race, they are showing no fear by running up front.
I also noticed a lot of green, a lot of Adams State runners running in that top half.
Adams State loves to get out hard, and they've been called giant killers. They love to get up. It's an interesting thing with Adams State this year. On paper, they're definitely not as strong as they were last year when they dominated NCAAs. They lose Tabor Stevens, who was ridiculously good, like 2-time champion in cross country, won I think 3 steeple titles. Added some indoors as well. That guy could fly.
Steeple,
also had Kevin
5K
Batt.
in outdoor, I believe.
He could do everything. He could do no wrong, essentially. Now we have up back to our leaders. Huge pack. This is something we have not seen all day, but it makes sense in this Division I race. Really, really competitive battle going on right now. But you're right, Taylor. I see some Adams State green up there.
And as you can see, as the top runners make that turn, they're going to head into the 2K mark. But while on their way there, this point is a very long stretch of the course. It's very up and down, just rolling, constant rolling hills. You can kind of see as the cart drives by just the variation in the straightaway. It's definitely not an easy course, as we've been saying, or all day. It's definitely tough on the legs, a lot of hill variations, but this point in the course is very, very groomed, very well manicured. The rain hasn't taken that big of a toll right here.
No, I'm seeing a lot of dry socks and dry shoes right now, so I think it's hard. It's getting harder as the day goes on, as the sun continues to pound down, but they're on the far exterior of the course on the perimeter, and heading to our 2K. Actually, I think they've already crossed 2,000 meters, so now they're going well outside in the perimeter, and then they'll cut in to head to 3K.
Another pack that I noticed in the top 20 or so is Cal, and I know I'm Cal alum, a little biased, but I gotta hand it off to these Cal Bears, these men coming in. I was talking to their head coach Tony Sandoval yesterday, and he was saying that they have the potential to pull it together and surprise some people.
I do see. No, it's no bias, just purely on the eye test. You see Cal with their Cal jerseys up front, and there goes Walden. It looks like he's trying to slide up front. Some athletes are flying down the hill, so we're going to start to head to 3,000 meters, and we're still at a big pack. I expect someone soon, though, to really start to push this pace, because so far it's really nothing too quick early on. When you have this many athletes still up front, yes, we're only 2.5K into an 8K race, but generally you see somebody really starting to push the pedal.
one runner that I noticed up front and hasn't traditionally showed himself as a cross country runner, but is really great on the track is Thomas Joyce.
But talk about Thomas Joyce! What a year he had on the track.
A great year on the track. He ran 13:35 in the 5K. I believe his 1500 time was 3:39. And just an incredible season. Unfortunately, missed the final, the NCAA final in the 1500. But I remember speaking to him after the meet, and he was saying that he was very excited for cross country. He was going to come back and train hard this summer, and just have that chip on his shoulder coming into this fall.
You say he doesn't have much on his cross country resume, but when you run 13:35 on the track, I mean.
Oh, it's got to translate.
I remember that race.
At some point.
You were there at that race. I think it was at Peyton Jordan. It was back-to-back 5Ks. It was the women's race where you had a Cal alum, Chelsea Riley, kicking hard to a win. And then right after, maybe I'm flipping the order, but then Thomas Joyce kicked hard to a win. It was kind of a Cal Bears show there for a minute.
It was pretty great.
Yeah, it's a good moment for you. But I mean, Thomas Joyce, like we said, really broke out this outdoor season. Can he keep that momentum going on the cross-country course? He could be a big X factor for the Golden Bears. But back up to the front, we're going to start to see. Now, I do see a Cal jersey. I don't think that's Walden up front. Maybe I'm going to have you help me see who that is. But definitely a Cal Bear is leading at the moment, but he's got about 60 of his friends with him, so he's not going anywhere too fast as we head to 3K. And they'll be at about 9:13 for about, like I said, about 40 men are going to be all within 5 seconds of each other, if not more. So the pace is, these guys are smart. This is a tactical pace early on, and it's because it's hot. I mean, there's no reason to get out here and kill yourself and have, when you know it's this strong of a group, to go out so hard and to get tracked down in later stages. So it's slow early on, but we expect a fast second half of this race.
And a team that we haven't mentioned yet, but is definitely present in that top group, is the Boise State men.
Yep.
And I got to speak with Michael Rhynard yesterday just about how the Boise State men are looking and heading into this race, and he was very confident in his team and confident in him in his individual performance, as he mentioned that this course at Griak is very similar to the courses he ran while growing up in Great Britain. It's very hilly, very tough, and he said he in particular felt very comfortable tackling this type of difficult course.
Yeah, and we'll see how it works out for him here today.
Roy Griak
And we were just handed some Roy Griak candy bars with the legendary coach's face on them, and you got to get your hands on one of these.
You got to. I don't think at home they're going to be able to get their hands on
No.
those. But back up to our race, we see a big chunk of the pack coming through the field. There's our lead cart. It is still, I hesitate to call it slow because people at home might say, well, could you run that fast? And I would say no. But when you have this many guys heading to the halfway point, you know that it's really not particularly fast for them. I see a lot of Cal, though. I will say that. And
I see a lot of Cal. I see all top five Southern Utah guys, though, leading that charge. I'm pretty sure it was all five if I counted correctly.
See some Long Beach State singlets there in the middle of the pack.
And this point in the course, the course that Roy Griak and Gary Wilson, our meet director, designed hasn't changed in 30 years. It's still the same kind of just legendary course that has been around all these years, and that many people from the Midwest and just all over the country remember grinding through. And as you can see, spectators are kind of sprinkled throughout the course, and that's because it doesn't really cross over too much. It's not loops like traditional college cross-country races tend to be on golf courses. It's, a ton of different turns and surprises along the way, and doesn't, cross the same place twice. So that's something that is exciting for runners to experience, competing on this course, but also makes it difficult for spectators.
Yeah, it does. It's a workout. There's always a workout in cross country as a spectator. You don't have to run that day if you watch the full 8K, couple races. So here's, we're combing through the pack. as these runners trying to get up near the front, but really the runners up front have a game plan, and it's all about sticking with that pack right now, because no one's trying to break away at this point. As we catch back up to our leaders, that's going to be plural, of course, because the eyeball test tells me that that's 30 men strong, maybe slightly less, but a huge, huge group, which has me excited for how this race could play out.
Definitely. This is anybody's race.
Yeah, and that's not hyperbole at all right now. When you have this many guys, I mean, likely you have entire top fives in this group. So the team battle, we'll get a better idea as we get later into the race, but the team battle surely is very, very tight right now.
Well, and we mentioned Adam State earlier. They're still very, very much present in this pack. You can see a lot of green. I remember Damon Martin, the head coach, mentioning earlier in the preseason that last year, as you mentioned, they lost Tabor Stevens. They lost a lot of their strength up top, and he was saying that he was concerned because last year, a lot of the runners kind of relied on that top end strength, the low sticks and Tabor Stevens, but this year, they don't necessarily have a distinctive low stick. But they do have a strong pack.
Well, it's whatever way you can get it done. It's tough to replace a two-time champion in Tabor Stevens and Kevin Badd, who ran 13:40 on the track. I mean, you don't just replace that in one season. It's going to take some time, but they have to change their identity. They've got to become a pack running team now, as opposed to just having 3 guys in the top 10. Maybe they don't have that this year, but possibly they have 5 guys that can finish 20 to 30 range, somewhere around there, and that could still end up making them NCAA champions. They're going to come into a buzzsaw, I think, in Grand Valley State later in the year. But up to our race right now, I see Southern Utah jerseys. I see multiples of them, of course. But that's kind of what's on your screen right now. We're heading to 5K. It's tough to pinpoint exactly who is our team leaders at the moment, but Southern Utah, given what I'm seeing on the screen, appears to be very strong. I see some Colorado State up there, Michigan State as well. So all the teams that we kind of previewed early on are running well. I'd say the one surprise so far was that Adam State is competing so well. I guess I shouldn't be surprised by that, though.
Well, and, Tony Sandoval and I had a funny conversation yesterday just about who he thought would shake out in the men's team race, and he kept saying, never underestimate Adam State. Yeah. They come from 7,000 feet altitude in Alamosa, Colorado. This is cake for them compared to training up there.
Absolutely. Yeah, we saw that. We had that workout Wednesday. I think you guys saw it on the broadcast earlier, but if you didn't, it's on the site. The names don't pop out. I was a former D2 runner. Everyone knew. I mean, I was older than them, but everyone knew who Tabor Stevens was. Even among D1 ranks, everyone knew who Tabor Stevens was and Kevin Badd. You knew those guys. There isn't that name this year, and we've gone over this again and again, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't succeed, and we're seeing that so far. And let's get an idea of who we have. It's still a bunch of Southern Utah. Mock of Colorado State is moving up to the top group.
And this is the point in the course for sure where the tough decisions need to be made. It's still a pretty solid pack up top, but you see some runners starting to trail off that lead pack, and that is the make or break time. That's where you need to make the decision to either stick with that main pack and compete, or run alone, which is the toughest way to go in cross country for sure.
All right, so we're going to catch back up to our lead group. But we only have about 8 minutes left in this race, so although doesn't seem like we've been here very long, we're getting into the later stages at this point now, hitting 17 minutes, and there's still a bunch of athletes packed together. It is separating ever so slightly. You see Jerrell Mock on the right side of your screen, now going to the front. He was 53rd at the NCAA meet as a freshman. Kind of under the radar right now, but there appears to be a couple Colorado State guys up front, and now our pack's starting to break open just a little bit.
Another team that I noticed has one or two runners in that top pack is USF. which historically has been a little bit stronger on the women's side. They've had a few standout individual men's runners, but I spoke with their head coach yesterday, Helen Lehman-Winters, and she said, you have to look out for our men's team. That is the team that's going to stand out this year, which surprised me because historically, it's always been about the women.
Yeah, no, it is surprising to see San Francisco up there, but they've had some strong individuals in the past. I can't put any names right now into my head, but they've had the individuals. I think it's just mixing the group. But I do remember the ladies a couple years ago. Very, very, very good, strong team. So in the Bay Area. So it's a team you can kind of forget about, they're not a traditional power, but
yeah.
But up there so far, we'll see if they can put together an entire top 5. So our athletes now heading to the 6K part of our course, which is kind of a dead zone for our cameras. We may kick it to a map, and I'll be able to give you an example about where we're at fairly shortly. All right, so here we catch up to our leaders. There's our lead cart. So heading to 19 minutes. That appears to be Mock, and the pack is really broken up now. The heat, I just, once again, I think the heat is going to huge part of our result today. And we're going to kick it to a map so I can show you exactly where we are at the course. So we're on the map here. This is where our athletes are at. You can follow my cursor. They're at about this portion of the course. They're just past 6 kilometers. They're heading into our S curves. As you can see, our full course view here. They're going to wind around here. They'll head to this section. That's what we call a perfect circle. And keep moving up the course to head to, of course, this is self-explanatory, 7K. So right around this big, large circle. After the S curves, we will find our athletes, pick them up again, which should be very, very shortly. So we're getting to a crucial point. This is going to be exciting, Taylor, because we're going to really find out who's leading this team battle.
This will definitely be the make or break point. As you can see, as you saw earlier on the map, it's very, very windy, sharp turns. It doesn't look super sharp on the map, but in reality, it's very sharp, and the course narrows a lot on those turns. So, obviously, it's a very tough point. You're getting towards the end of the course, but that is the time where runners need to make the decision to have no regrets and just, there's nothing to lose at this point.
There isn't. We still got a mile left, so you gotta pick your points to move here. As you see our finish, we're about less than 5 minutes to go, so you still got a bit of racing to do. But the team battle is still up for grabs at this point. It is
Absolutely.
Not at all, and especially obviously the individual race still up for grabs. And our next camera shot will give us a better idea of where we are. And here we'll pick up back up to the race, and we will.
And this is going to reveal really who was able to make that decision to go with that lead pack, which you can see has broken away, is coming over this hill, and is just grinding it out in this final kilometer.
So we have about a group of I don't know, 7 or 8 now that are. So I believe our leader right now is the comeback man himself, Trent Lusigan, coming back from injury last year. He was 12th in 2013 at the NCAA meet. Now has really broken this race open. So you see some people falling off this pace now. And we'll try to catch back up to the front as you see the stragglers getting into the later stages of this race. What a story this would be for Trent, though, coming back after an injury. His first 8K in nearly 2 years. Can he come back, get a big victory here? And then he's definitely going to be in our top 25 then coming up after the weekend if he picks up this win. Now we're focusing on the team battle here a little bit more than the individual race. But if he takes down Chris Walden and some of the other names, Jerrell Mock in this, that's going to show that Trent's back.
Well, and I remember in 2013 when I believe he was 12th in the championships. He really surprised some people. A lot of runners on the NCAA scene were saying, "Who the heck is that guy?"
Oh yeah, and some people that thought you know, maybe it was because of the mud and the cold that he finished so high. And so back up to the front. It does look like Lusigan, though, is falling off a little bit, though, as we speak. So Jefferson, I believe that is Jefferson, Abbey, and then Jerrell Mock. So Colorado State now with 2 athletes up front. Yes, that's Jefferson, Abbey, and Jerrell Mock. 1-2 for the Rams from Colorado State. They were 19th at NCAA cross country a year ago, looking to make a statement by taking the top 2 places here, as we are going to head into the last couple minutes of this race. But so far, the Rams looking to make a statement. So can the Rams make a big, big statement here at Griak today?
And as you can see on our screen, this point is the field is obviously strung out. It's, you know, whoever can grind the hardest heading into this final K, but this is where it gets really tough for all of these runners, just powering through these brutal hills.
So here we come. This will be the final stages of this race. And it appears Rhynard is starting to come back up on the Rams. So you talked to him yesterday. Let's see if he can catch up to this group.
This is a breakout performance for him if he's able to close the gap here.
But Mock looks very, very strong. He was a sleeper coming into this race, and he's not going to be a sleeper anymore after this. Or excuse me, that's Abbey up front, I believe.
As you can see, he's coming over that final hill, coming into the finish, about 200 meters to go.
So here comes, but don't forget about Rhynard. He's coming in strong as well. So Abbey is away. Rhynard looks like he's starting to struggle. Mock is as well, but Abbey is going to be your winner. Jefferson Abbey from Colorado State.
What a finish. 24:50 unofficially.
So it's
Jefferson Abbey.
Colorado State 1-2. Here's Trent Lusigan coming in. He is 4th. There's Walden. He's about 6th. Michigan State. Michigan State has 2. Here's South Dakota. Southern Utah has 1. Southern Utah has 2. Watch out, though, for Michigan State. They've already got 3. Minnesota's got 2. Southern Utah. This is going to be a tight team battle, no doubt about it. So Cal finishing up here. Cal's got a number of runners in. This is going to be a very, very tight team battle. Minnesota's got several of theirs in. So this is going to be very close between, let's look at the teams here. It's going to be very close between Southern Utah, Michigan State, and I believe Michigan State as well. It's very, very close.
Cal, I think,
Cal
has
as well.
all their top 5 in at this point.
Very close, but your winner there, Mr. Jefferson Abbey.
What a finish. That was exciting.
That was definitely the best finish we've had all day, no doubt about it.
I can't wait to see how these team scores shake out. I mean, like you said earlier, we saw a lot of Colorado State, a lot of Boise runners, Cal, Michigan State, and Minnesota Gophers.
You know, it's going to be the tightest team battle we've had all day, no doubt about it. So you see the rest of our athletes finishing in. Just saw Ollie Atchison. He was the 1500 champ at D2, stepping up for Adams State. Still a number of guys finishing up. This is a hot one. We've had some athletes come in into the medical tent. It is warm at this point, no doubt about it.
Everyone definitely needs to be drinking their water today, that's for sure. And as you can see on the screen, this is definitely the point of the race where, you know, points are determined. There are 4 or 5 runners are coming in, and this is the make or break time for team scores. Even just, you know, passing one person can make all the difference.
You are correct. So it's 27-17 now, which would traditionally obviously be a pretty slow time, but how warm it is today. To break 25 for Jefferson Abbey is very, very impressive.
And time can't really be that big of a factor today on this course in particular, just because it's anything but flat. It's very hilly, very difficult. So where the times might not be as fast as other college courses around the country, it makes up for it in difficulty.
It does. So we're going to get ready for an interview with Mr. Jefferson Abbey in just a few moments.